How has the use of illegal drugs affected the culture in cycling? For as long as there has been sports, there have been athletes in search for an advantage. The purpose of this presentation is to explain how the use of illegal drugs have affected the culture of cycling and why this issue may have become more prevalent. A performance-enhancing drug is defined as any substance used to improve the overall performance of an athlete. This term most commonly refers to anabolic steroids, but also encompasses other drugs such as an EPO and HGH. As performance-enhancing drug screening is becoming more routine, so is the detection of these drugs in many sports, including cycling. The increased pressure to consistently perform well has led to a subsequent increase in athlete drug use. It is no wonder that athletes such as Lance Armstrong felt the need to resort to performance-enhancing drugs, and in his case, blood doping, as the pressure to compete became more seeming. However, this does not condone the use of performance-enhancing drugs. It just goes to show the effect society can have on elite sportsmen and the measures they will go to in order to enhance the entertainment value. Consequently, it has diminished the value of sportsmanship and goes against the merits of honesty and trust. With that said, the perceived increase in PED usage isn't due to an actual increase, but to the standardized routine testing to it. This culture has been prevalent for a long time in cycling. However, it hasn't come to the attention of the public until recently due to technological advancements, which come about in the later part of the 20th century. Now that the public is more aware, these cultural shifts have led to economic difficulty for the elite cycling world because it dampens the appeal to the wider community. Ultimately, to compete at an elite level, there is a need to resort to performance-enhancing drugs, as an advantage is seen even across the board because everyone is doing it. This sends a negative image to current youth as it portrays a world where taking performance-enhancing drugs is the norm. And this right here goes to show that there has been a cultural shift as the playing field is now seen as somewhat equal. Professional athletes are turning to performance-enhancing drugs to keep up with these expectations and therefore are violating the morals that govern sport. So why keep resorting to these? Performance-enhancing drugs serve various purposes, with the most common being improvement of strength and endurance. In relation to cycling, in particularly Lance Armstrong, evidence suggests that the highly competitive world of elite sport has encouraged athletes to cheat the system. In 2009, it was proven that Armstrong, along with others, were part of a blood doping scandal. As a result of this, he was stripped of his 7 Tour de France successes. According to Australian journalist, the evidence shows beyond any doubt that the US Postal Service Pro Cycling Team ran the most sophisticated, professionalized, and successful doping program that sport had ever seen. For many American and also worldwide followers, the news of this caused individuals to question the innocence of other athletes in cycling. This was a major turning point for elite performers, as one of the world's greatest athletes had just been proven a drug cheat. For that reason, the stigma attached to cycling was altered, and therefore illustrates how the ramifications of one person's actions can affect the reputation of current and future elite competitors. A spokesperson stated that athletes are admired for their skills and ability, but it should be their natural athleticism that gets them recognised. Athletes should practice and play as hard as they can in working to be successful. However, it seems that 21st century culture has changed the way we perceive professional athletes, which has led to nations becoming quite stereotypical. The recent scandals surrounding the elite cycling community has resulted in the attachment of a drug cheat stigma to the sport as a whole. Therefore, we can conclude by stating that performance-enhancing drug use has affected the culture of cycling. However, we must keep in mind that the abuse of performance-enhancing drugs extends to other professional sports and not just cycling.